I have not done anything wrong. I've been advised by my counsel to assert my constitutional right not to testify.
You don't get to tell your side of the story and then not be subjected to cross-examination. That's not the way it works.
That was IRS official Lois Lerner, who's been placed on administrative leave and may be called before Congress again following her performance this week. Let's get into that now with the Roundtable. Congressman Peter King and Congresswoman Debbie Wasserman Schultz are back, and we're joined by ABC and Fusion correspondent Jim Avila and Politico's Maggie Haberman. Welcome to all of you, and to you again. And let me start with you, Congresswoman. Did Lois Lerner do anything wrong? What did you think of that testimony?
Well, I think we don't yet know, and that's why a continuing investigation is imperative. President Obama rightfully asked for and received the acting IRS director's resignation. He's called for a deeper dive on whether anyone at the IRS actually did commit any crimes, and to see what can be done down the road to make sure that it never happens again. At the end of the day, an agency as powerful as the IRS should never engage in any conduct that treats taxpayers less than neutrally, and President Obama rightfully called the conduct that occurred here outrageous and unacceptable.
Congressman King, how can you convince anyone this isn't political? How can President Obama convince voters this wasn't political?
I think by laying out all the facts, and I agree with Debbie, this was, as I see it, a terrible abuse of power, and it has to be fully investigated. The only question to me involving the president is how close to his inner circle did this get, as far as him knowing about when it happened?
We learned his chief of staff knew about it this week, correct?
Yeah, and again, is it not certain the timeline about when his counsel knew about it, when the chief of staff knew about it, when the Treasury counsel knew about it. And as far as the White House counsel, I don't think it's the White House counsel's job to insulate the president. I mean, that's what we're hearing secondhand, that they didn't want to tell the president because they didn't want him to be brought into it. I think the White House counsel
should he have told? Should Dennis McDonough have told the president about this?
Let's be clear. The reason that the president wasn't informed is because until, just like Darrell Issa didn't reveal what he knew all the way through the IG's investigation, giving the president piecemeal, incomplete information doesn't make any sense. You want to bring the president a complete picture so that then the actions that he took, which were the responsible actions to take, can be done comprehensively. It's important, though, to understand there is nothing that has pointed to any outside influence or any political motivations here, and nothing that has pointed to President Obama's involvement.
Now, if there is an ongoing scandal, I think the president, as the chief executive officer, has the obligation, the responsibility to stop it, to wait until the investigation is finished. More damage may be done by then. So I think the president should have been told, unless it involves somebody close to him, which it didn't. If it's an action by a department or an agency, the president should be told about it so he can take corrective action.
Then why didn't Darrell Issa, the chairman of the Oversight Investigations Committee, who knew it all the way through, who was aware of the IG investigation, never revealed what he knew, never brought it before his committee? Because he said that you don't do that until you have a complete investigation.
But he's not the president of the United States. The president of the United States is one administering the office day to day, ultimately.
Maggie, should he have intervened? Should he have told the president? And do you think more heads are going to roll here?
I do think more heads are likely to roll. I think that we don't know, to the question you two are debating of whether there was deliberate targeting or not, we don't know the answer yet. We don't know exactly the scope of what went on. To say that there's no evidence of politics being played per se, we do not know the answer to that. We're not going to know for a while. I do think you've seen the crush of excitement about this slow down a bit. We're heading into congressional recess. There will be more after that. I don't think this is going away anytime soon. And I think the problem for Lois Lerner is when you take the fifth, the presumption is always not of innocence, right? And that's not fair.
Even though it's supposed to be.
It's supposed to be, but that is the political calculation.
I think it's clear, too, Martha, that at the White House, this is the one of the three scandals that the president and the White House really wants to be careful about. The press scandal, the people in the country don't really care about us and about who's being investigated. That's not their issue.
They might care about the information they're not getting eventually, though.
But it's not on it's not the forefront. And certainly Benghazi is a bit confusing to people. They understand the IRS. They fear the IRS. They do not want the IRS in our business and in other people's businesses when they're not supposed to be. And the president understood that from the beginning. He did speak out right away, and he has taken action there very decisively. Maybe not to everybody's satisfaction, but there is a clear difference in the way they address this.
Jim, let's move to the big issue you covered this week, and it's the immigration bill making it through committee. A lot of celebrating up on the Hill. Let's take a look.
It's gratifying to see the momentum behind these reforms. That's how we move legislation forward for the greater good. Compromise.
I must observe that S744 repeats many of the mistakes of the past.
That's Harry Reid celebrating, by the way. That's I think that's as excited as he gets. Jim, what happens now? I think maybe the celebrating will level out a little bit here.
Well, it was celebration because this was the first step, and it's a long road. The Senate did, in fact, work. And there was some celebration about that there was some government working here. There was compromise among senators here. There was, of course, self-interest in all of this because the Democrats have a huge, a lot at stake. They've promised, they've received support from the Latinos in particular, and the Republicans, in order to continue to be a national party in this country, have to somehow get back some of that Latino support, and immigration is the only way to do it.
Senator Bob Menendez told Univision's Jorge Ramos that they don't yet have the 60 votes needed to avoid filibuster, correct?
That is correct. And that is, well, this was absolutely a step, and I think there was jubilation about that. At the end of the day, we were talking about it got out of committee. The real work is going to take place on the floor, and this is going to be very messy. Privately, some Democrats will say they do not think they have the votes. They're not certain that it will pass. They know they're going to lose some Democrats who are up for re-election in 2014, and it's not really clear what Republican votes they're going to pick up.
And that's just in the Senate.
That's just in the Senate. We're not even talking. That's right. We're not even talking about.
Let's move over to the House over here, as long as we have the both of you here. Where does this go from here? What do you think?
I can only speak for myself. My concern is about the security. We're in this position now with 11 million illegal immigrants because there was not adequate security. 8 guys coming out of a room saying there's going to be security, or 8 senators, is to me not enough. But I do want to vote for a bill. I'm a grandson of immigrants, grew up in an immigrant neighborhood. New York, as Maggie knows, there's immigrants everywhere, and we just come to accept it. It's part of our tradition. So I want to encourage more legal immigration, and if we can find a way to legalize the 11 million of the year, I just want to be sure that we're serious about security and not just saying it's there. If that can be done, then I would certainly vote for it.
There are 11 million undocumented immigrants in this country who deserve a path to legal status, a path to citizenship. It is wonderful and huge progress that the Senate Judiciary Committee passed this bill, but the jury is still very much out. Peter King's very conservative Tea Party colleagues have no interest in ensuring a path to citizenship, and the fight ultimately, I'm concerned that Maggie thinks it might not even get out of the Senate, but we certainly have an internecine battle coming in the House, and at the end of the day, the Republicans politically need to do this. If they don't, they're going to lose the Hispanic vote for a generation.
It's a question of getting it done right. And again, I don't want to be in a situation where 5 years from now there's another 5 or 10 million illegal immigrants here in the country. Yes, if we can legalize them, fine. But again, we have to make sure the systems are in place and we're not just going through a feel-good process where we say there's security and it's really not there.
I want to move to another big issue, not just this week, but for months and months and months, and that's the issue of military sexual assault. You heard President Obama talk about it. You heard Secretary of Defense Chuck Hagel talk about it. This is a huge issue. You heard General Allen talk about it, that it's a matter of leadership. But is it more than that? Does more need to happen?
26,000 sexual assaults in 2012 alone.
That they believe many of them unreported.
That went right, men and women. I mean, the person who was responsible for sexual assaults and their accountability was accused of sexual assault. What has to happen here is legislation to ensure that we can take the reporting out of the chain of command and make sure that reporting can go straight to a military prosecutor.
And the military will argue that will interrupt good order and discipline, that the commander has to be in charge of those units.
Look, you can't, no woman or man who is accusing someone of sexual assault can be expected to bring it up one above them to the chain of command, especially if that person is the person who has been attacking them.
You take it out of the chain of command?
Yeah, I have the same concern Senator Levin does about the chain of command. Having said that, let's agree. We agree on 99.9% of this. It has to be done. There has to be legislation. If it has to be fine-tuned in a way to ensure that the chain of command is not broken, but we have to. The current system is not working. It's broken. And anyone who has a daughter or even a son in the military, whatever, or a relative, it's absolutely offensive to think that they could be sexually abused and proper action not taken.
Jim Avila, quickly. I've heard this for 20 years. I've heard leaders say this is going to change, zero tolerance, and it hasn't. Do you really believe it will change this time because of what the president said this week? Because he's made it a priority.
Having covered the war as you did in Iraq, I saw the number. It's the numbers, Martha. The fact that there's so many men and so few women. I believe the women are uncomfortable. They're uncomfortable in Iraq. When I saw them in the barracks, it was not a comfortable situation. They're uncomfortable in the academies. And this is terrible for the military because what's happening
is... Sexual assault happens to men, too, by the way.
Yes.
It does, but not in the numbers. And what is bad for the military here is that what's happening is that the women, you're not getting the best and the brightest anymore because they're not going to want to go in the military. And their mothers and their fathers are not going to want to send them to the academies. They've got to fix it.
Final point. Anthony Weiner, back in a run for mayor. Does he have a chance?
He has a chance because this field is pretty lackluster and nobody is capturing the imagination of the public. But I have yet to meet a single political professional who thinks that Anthony Weiner is going to be the next mayor. So he has a chance, but a very, very, very slim one.
And do you think he'll change? Do you think he'll be the same old Anthony Weiner in this campaign, or the same kind of cantankerous guy, or Mr. Apology?
He's already been the same kind of cantankerous guy once he's dispensed with the 20 seconds of apologies. So I don't think he's changed very much, no. I think we're seeing the same Anthony Weiner.
Probably going forward. Okay, thanks very much to all of you. And Maggie is sticking around to answer your questions for our Web Extra.